Or so let's discuss. Let me tell you. Okay, so what we'll be learning as part of a course, and even I want to ask you. How many of you are really want to learn the entire data engineering? Because some of you might be having some specific requirements, right? Okay, so some of you told on that day. I have some requirement in ADF or whatever it is. Okay, so I make it clear. What we'll be learning as part of our the Azure Data Engineering, or also the certification which tells you about DP20 contents will be having, and what kind of lab exercise or whatever it is we'll be doing, and what all the things prerequisites or whatever it is is required in order to learn and master this DP203. So before we start, let me show you something. The course contents, what we'll be learning as part of a course contents. Now let me tell you guys, when you're learning something on cloud, right? Okay, so you don't need to know the basics of some kind of cloud computing, or what kind of cloud service provider you're working on. So you might be like, say for example, now we are interested to work on like, say for example, we want to learn something on, right? So it's very important that you need to know something about your cloud services, or what kind of services they are offering, or what kind of platform it is. Okay, so we have designed, I designed the course in such a way that, you'll come to know what exactly, the basics, okay, so even before we directly, we into the contents of 203, D203. Okay, and let me tell you, many of, like, say, for example, even in real time as well, I see many of the, candidates, so directly they'll start from like, say for example, the DP203 kind of contents itself. Okay, so it's always all essential, and recommended that you need to learn something about the Azure data fundamentals. Okay, so there is a separate certification for that one. Okay, so DP 900, I hope so. Okay, so let me tell you something about it. Okay, so walking down the course. Okay, so we'll be starting off with what is Azure for the data engineering, what kind of, like, say, for example, services we require for data engineering. Okay, so you used to run on Azure. So we'll be learning something about, the basic things about cloud computing, and about Microsoft Azure, and what kind of services they're offering. And okay, so these are all the basics. But coming to the important kind of services, right? Okay, so as I told you, it is always all recommended that you need to know something about some kind of services, what kind of technologies, or what kind of tools, or what kind of service. So we'll be learning as part of Azure Data Engineering, Azure Data Platform. Guys, whoever it is, please mute yourself. If you're having any questions, you can unmute and ask. Thank you. So, data services and Azure Data Platform. So, design this course. Just like, you can learn something about DP900. Okay, so Azure Data Fundamentals, because it is very essential and recommended that you need to understand what kind of tools or technologies you will be working on tomorrow. Whether even it is real time, or like, say for example, even if you want to clear your DP203 kind of certification, right? First of all, without basics, you can't understand any kind of things, guys. Let me tell you, if your fundamentals are strong, then you can go and learn any kind of things. Okay, so here we'll be coming to know, like, if you look at the Azure data platform, right? So we'll be trying to understand what are the different kinds of data types we'll be dealing with. Okay, so because even in lab sessions also, so we'll be working much more into unstructured kind of format. Okay, so like structured kind of things, okay, so file sources, file sources in the sense Parquet, Avro, all the different kinds of unstructured formats also we'll be learning. Okay, again, it is very much essential that you need to understand what is on premises and what is cloud, and especially when it comes to the case of data lake solutions, right? See, let me tell you one thing, guys. In data engineering kind of things, right? Okay, in real time, now they are working on Delta Lake. Okay, so they have even surpassed, like, say for example, let me tell you, data lake kind of architecture. From data lake kind of architecture, they are moving to Delta lake kind of architecture. So it is very essential that you need to understand those kind of concepts. Okay, now previously, in the traditional data warehousing systems, right? So we came to know that even on the last session, we have understood, what is the traditional kind of architectures. And even I told you that in data engineering kind of solutions, right? So they are employing or they are implementing some kind of data lake kind of architecture. But again, okay, so what is this data lake kind of architecture? Why we want to, or why, enterprises are implementing those kind of architectures, and what is data lake? Okay, so even if you go for any kind of certification, even if it all you want to clear that certification, right? So concepts on that are very, very important, guys. Okay, so you need to understand, I mean, even for your real time implementations also, creating a delta lake. Okay, so that is very, very essential, and we'll be working on that one as well. Okay, so then it's also must that, I mean, you need to understand what are the different kinds of data. Okay, so whether it comes to Cosmos DB, I mean, if you look at structured kind of data sources, right? Okay, so let me tell you, structured kind of data sources are like, say, for example, transactional data marts or databases or whatever it is. Okay, so I mean, we all know that, I mean, the data will be stored in some kind of row based kind of format, right? Okay, so but when it comes to the case of like, say, for example, different other kind of formats, right? Okay, so especially using Cosmos DB, what we'll be doing is we'll be converting them to some kind of columnar kind of databases here. Okay, so that is with the help of Cosmos DB. And let me tell you guys, Microsoft is also planning to implement a separate certification path on Cosmos DB. In the near future, you might see there is a separate certification path will be implemented on only Cosmos DB. Okay, especially when it comes to the case of unstructured kind of data formats here. Okay. Now again, Azure SQL database, Azure Synapse Analytics. I mean, previously it was also called as SQL Data Warehouse. Now it is also called as Synapse Analytics. So, I mean, we'll be coming to know, or we'll be implementing, or we'll be learning what is SQL pools, Spark pools. Okay. Again, when it comes to the case of streaming analytics, right? Okay. So how you need to, like, say, for example, tap in some unstructured kind of data. Okay, so which is some kind of stream data. So how you can, like, for example, build some kind of data pipelines and load that data into some kind of data lakes. Okay, so we'll be learning all those kind of things. Again, coming to the case of Azure HD Insight, right? Okay, so Hadoop clusters or Spark clusters, how to design that one, or how to implement that one as part of your Databricks kind of solutions. So how to even run some advanced analytics on Databricks. I mean, okay, so some kind of PySpark kind of implementations, all those things we'll be learning. And coming to Azure Data Factory, as you people know, that is some kind of cloud data warehousing kind of solution, or cloud ETL kind of solution, where we'll be implementing some kind of, I mean, CI/CD kind of data pipelines. Okay, these are the basics. I mean, okay, so in order to, you might be writing some kind of 203 kind of certification, or you might be going for Azure Data Scientist certification, or you might be even going for some kind of Azure AI kind of certification. Let me tell you, this is recommended, guys. Okay, so this is recommended. I mean, you need to understand, you need to know the data basics here, without which, I mean, you can't work it on. Okay, so if you don't understand deal with Parquet file, or how to deal with Havro kind of different kinds of data sources, then it is, I mean, it's meaningless. I mean, flaunting some kind of set of things in your resume. Okay, so that is why you need to understand certain things here, even before you enter into these kind of things. I mean, okay, so now coming to the case of data storage kind of things, right? Well, what all kind of data storage techniques we are having in Azure now? If you look at non-relational kind of data sources, right? Okay, so we are having different kinds of stores here, or data storage kind of things here, called as document, columnar, value data stores. I mean, in Python also we do have some kind of dictionaries kind of format. JSON also deals with key value kind of pairs. I mean, okay, so likewise, I mean, again, blob storage, Cosmos DB. Again, what is the difference between non-relational versus NoSQL? I mean, okay, so again, to the case of data storage, yes, of course. I mean, again, let me tell you something. In data engineering kind of things, right? Okay, so in real-time implementation, data will be loaded in its native format in data lake kind of thing. So that is the reason why, I mean, many enterprises, or many of the architectures you see, that is some kind of data lake kind of architectures. Okay, so there is a need of data lakes. I mean, so combinedly, if you see, let me tell you something, guys. Now, if you look at data warehousing kind of thing, right? Data warehouse is meant for some kind of reporting kind of purposes. I mean, like, say, for example, for relational kind of workloads, it is very, I mean, convenient. But coming to the case of machine learning kind of activities, it might not be suitable. Again, if you look at data lake, I mean, only not lakehouse kind of architecture, right? So, lakehouse, I'm not speaking about Delta Lake. Okay, so Lake is kind of architecture. it is very much suitable for machine learning or advanced analytics kind of activities. But again, when it comes to the case of relational or some kind of reporting kind of activities, I mean, those kind of workloads, right? Okay, so it might not be feasible actually. So that is why what they have done is they have integrated these two kind of solutions. Okay, and now, I mean, people are calling it as Delta Lake kind of solutions here. Okay, so now, I mean, those kind of Delta Lake kind of solutions, how we need to or how we need to run those kind of solutions on Azure. Okay, so we'll be learning it. But before that one, it is very essential that we need to understand what is data lake and its architecture. I mean, okay, so even your certification point of view, this is very, very important. I mean, okay, so almost all 10 to 15 questions will be on this kind of architecture itself. Okay, so again, when it comes to the case of Synapse Analytics, right? I mean, Synapse Analytics, as I told you, will be going with some kind of Spark pools and SQL pools. I mean, how to, like, say, for example, implement those kind of things, and what is MPP kind of architecture, okay, and how to design some kind of data warehousing kind of solutions using Synapse Analytics, okay. Again, what is Polybase, fine. So all these are the different kinds of things, I mean, you need to understand even before you learn MPP 203 kind of things, I mean, okay. So, don't worry. I mean, I'll not take much of your time in, I mean, learn, I mean, these kind of things. I mean, so hardly we'll be taking 2 or 3 sessions on this one. Okay, so then we can wind up and directly start with, I mean, DP 203. But before this one, let us try to understand what are those kind of things. I mean, okay. Now, when it comes to the case of Azure Data Factory, so data integration and CI/CD pipelines, I mean, how to design those kind of things. I mean, so we'll be learning using Azure Data Factory. Again, I mean, how to create data pipelines using Synapse Analytics, also how to create data warehousing solutions. I told you SQL pools, Spark pools, data frames, everything. Okay. So Synapse Analytics, let me tell you guys, I mean, it is one of the advanced analytics and #1 tool, which even the other cloud service providers doesn't have. Let me compare it with, like, say, for example, if you compare it with Amazon Redshift, right? Okay, Amazon Redshift is also a very good and popular kind of, I mean, analytics solutions. But when it comes to the case of Synapse Analytics, right? So Microsoft has designed Synapse Analytics in such a way, okay, so you can create any kind of data warehousing solutions. You can implement any kind of advanced analytics kind of solution. So it is one platform, okay, so where you can perform all these kind of activities. Okay, so that is one of the best, like, say, for example, I can say best things about Azure data engineering kind of things when it comes to implementing data engineering kind of solutions on Azure platform. Okay, so Synapse Analytics, I mean, okay. Again, so we'll be trying to understand what is Azure Databricks. I mean, so how to build and how to run Spark clusters, how to, like, so for example, what are data frames? I mean, how to work with data frames on Azure Databricks. I mean, okay, so what is lazy execution? I mean, again, we'll be trying to understand all these things. I mean, okay, so how to create delta lakes, how to append data to append tables. I mean, okay, so again, how to integrate Databricks with data factory again. Okay, so all these kind of things. Again, coming to data lake kind of storage solutions, I mean, you need to understand what is the difference between data lake Gen 1 and Gen 2. So now they're using Gen 2 kind of new kind of storage solutions. Okay. So then, so coming to the case of streaming analytics, we'll also be learning about, I mean, like, say, for example, how to perform some kind of streaming analytics using Azure Stream Analytics. Okay. So then if you come, I mean, if you look at the hands-on labs, what we'll be working on. So apart from this one, I'll also teach you some other kind of things. But first of all, let us try to understand, I mean, what we'll be learning as part of our Azure DP 203. Okay, so DP 203, that is Azure Data Engineering kind of things. I mean, okay. So when it comes to the case of hands-on labs, I mean, so we'll be learning how to copy data from storage input container to other output container. I mean, how do you, I mean, all the different kinds of copy data activities. I mean, how to perform using ADF. I mean, how to build data pipelines. I mean, okay, so how to schedule those kind of things, how to monitor those kind of things again, how to, like, say, for example, perform some kind of batch scheduling. Again, I mean, in Azure Data Factory, we have different kinds of triggering kind of mechanisms again. Okay, so we'll also be learning those things. I mean, again, on-premises, like, say, for example, from SQL Server to, I mean, how to ingest data. Okay, so it's something kind of lift and shift kind of. Okay, so I mean, we'll be also using, I mean, we'll be also working on that one. Okay, so how to perform those kind of things on using self-hosted integration runtimes. I mean, okay, so then how to ingest data from on-premises file systems to data lake storage. how to ingest data from some kind of SQL server to again data lake storage. Again, how to ingest data from to Azure Synapse. I mean, okay, so there is also something called as bulk insert and polybase. So where you will be coming to we'll be learning about what are those kind of things. I mean, you'll be understanding the difference. I mean, okay, so what is bulk insert and what is polybase? I mean, kind of things. Again, if you look at, there is, see, in ADF, when it comes to the case of ADF, right? So building data pipe, data flow activities. I mean, it's common. So we'll be implementing some kind of SCD1 and CD2 kind of activities there. Okay, so those things also will be got practically. Again, when it comes to the case of data lake analytics, so how to integrate those with data factory. Again, apart from this one, I'll also show you like how to, like say for example, from how to integrate data lake to Power BI. How to perform those kind of visualizations even. Okay, so we'll be also working on one. Again, schedule Databricks notebooks from ADF pipelines. So how to create Databricks workspace and clusters. How to read and write Azure SQL database from Databricks. How to read and write AWS S3. Okay, so I'll also show you some kind of multi-cloud application. Okay, so where I will be bringing some kind of data. I'll be like, so for example, my source system will be some kind of S3 bucket. Okay, so which is in AWS. Okay, so again, like, so for example, how do you load the data from S3 bucket to your Azure data lake? Again, those two Databricks. Okay, so again, like, so for example, if possible, I'll show you how to read and write the data from Amazon Redshift also. Okay, so if possible. Fine. So these are like, say, for example, some of the things you need to understand. Even like, say, for example, let me tell you guys, see, if you know these things, right, it will be easier for you to crack any kind of interviews. Okay. Now, certification part, these are very, very essential. Okay. So see, but most of the interviews you can crack it. Okay. So if you know these kind of things, how to implement these kind of Azure cloud. Okay. So that is very, very important, guys. Again, coming to these things, right? So that was our contents. Again, as I told you, DP 900 so it is very, very essential that you need to understand those kind of things. So firstly, we'll be starting off with this. And again, coming to, let me show you, okay, so how to create Azure portal, I'll tell you, okay, so before this one, so I think you people know what is Azure, right? So what services they are giving you. Okay, so if you create Azure account, initially they will be giving you $200 of free credits, Azure credits, which will be valid for 1 month. And they'll be giving some kind of popular services for free 12 months. And again, for 1 month you can use some kind of services here. So if you look at you can see all the different kinds of services here. Okay, so let me show you what kind of services they are giving you. Okay, see, for Azure Data Engineer, Python and SQL are you prerequisites. See, let me tell you. Okay, so see, for any data role, whether you might be going in data analyst, data engineer, data scientist, or whatever it is. Okay, so database knowledge is very, very essential, guys. And let me tell you today, you need to understand any one of the language, whether it is Spark, whether it is Python. Okay, so but we'll be implementing some kind of PySpark kind of things. Need not worry. Okay, so Python is very simple to learn. It's not unlike your Java where you need to write lengthy lines of code here. Okay, so it's very simple. Need not worry about that one. So, but you need to understand what kind of services you will be given. Okay, so when you create your Azure account or in the initial, whatever the $200 of free credits they will be giving you. So popular services like, Azure Active Directory and like, so for example, Cosmos DB and Azure Database for MySQL, PostgreSQL. Okay, so again, Azure Files. I'm telling you about data engineering kind of thing. Okay, so what are we require? Okay, so of course there are some different services which are being given. Okay, so that is not our point here. Now again, if you look at blob storage, we'll be working on this one. Okay, so again, if you look at, let me tell you, data factory. Of course, this is our main ingredient actually. Okay, so data factory. So how to build and create data pipelines here, how to create some kind of data flow activities. Okay, so everything will be learning here. Again, okay, so let me tell you. Fine. So resource managers, initially you'll be creating some kind of resources for any kind of activities. SQL database, yes, of course, we'll be using them. Okay. So these are the popular services that are giving you free of cost, guys. I mean, okay. So, but let me tell you, I mean, in order to practice Databricks and Synapse, some kind of services on Synapse Analytics, right? You require some kind of subscription. Okay. So Databricks, I mean, because it is a third party kind of thing. Okay. So service, I mean, so which is being implemented on Azure cloud. So that is why they'll be charging you for that one. So that is what is recommended. Okay. Services like I mean ADF and all the ADLS, I mean all those activities you can get in your I mean initial what are the free credits is giving you. Okay, so that's the thing, guys. I mean, fine. Now, so any other questions? So I hope, I mean, you people, I mean, have you created any Azure accounts? Or you, I mean, yet to create any kind of Azure accounts? Okay, need not worry. We'll be learning. Okay, so how to create them. But before this one, so these are some of the activities which we'll be learning, as I told you. Okay, so now I just want to understand, I mean, are you people having any kind of requirement, or, I mean, you want to learn the data engineer full, I mean, the entire kind of data engineering kind of things, I mean, is there anyone, I mean, who is having a specific kind of things on for any kind of other kind of things? So let me know. Fine. Okay. Okay, guys. So we'll start off with a course. Okay, so the first module we'll be trying to understand is Azure for Data Engineer. So what are all the things we'll be learning is the basics about what is cloud computing. I mean, what is Azure? Okay, so what applications of Azure. So if you look at, I mean, I'll also show you my portal. So you need to create an Azure portal. Okay, so after you, that means Azure account. Okay, so after you create an Azure account, it looks something in this way. Okay. I mean, initially, when you create your Azure account, right? Okay, you can see the interface in this way. Okay, so you can see some of the services here. I mean, initially, whatever service you want to start on Azure, right? You need to create a resource, guys. Okay, so that is why you need to understand what are the basics. I mean, okay, so learn what is a resource, what is a resource group. Okay, so everything. Okay, so we'll be learning from scratch. Okay. Now, if I tell you about this one, right? So what are all the services you're having? So as I told you, as offering, I mean, almost all 400 plus different kinds of services it is offering in various kinds of activities and different domains or specific areas actually. Okay, so if you look at, right, so initially, like say for example, the Azure administrators, I mean, okay, so Azure administrators, so they should be very well aware of this computing kind of solutions, networking and storage kind of things. I mean, okay, so this is very, very essential. And even like say, for example, in our lab session kind of activities also, sometimes, I mean, so we'll be requiring some different kinds of computing kind of solutions. Okay, so that is why even you need to understand what are the different kinds of computing kind of solutions we'll be I mean, implementing as part of our data engineering kind of solution. So if you look at this one, right? So you'll be having different services here like virtual machines. I mean, okay. I mean, containers. I mean, containers. If you can see, I mean, you're having Kubernetes again, Docker. I mean, different kinds of things here. Again, Bash accounts, app services. I mean, likewise, you are having different kinds of services. I mean, okay, so resources. I mean, okay, so in this kind of service, computing kind of solutions. Again, if you look at networking kind of thing, again, you're having, see, I mean, you're having different other kind of services in networking like load balancers. I mean, okay, so IP addresses. I mean, route tables. I mean, okay, so private links. I mean, again, firewalls. I mean, okay, so you're having some other kind of virtual vans. I mean, okay, so these are all the different kinds of things to just let you know. I mean, I'm okay, so what are all the different kinds of services are available? I'm just showing you some kind of thing. Again, if you look at storage kind of things, right? So storage kind of things, as I told you, even we have read some kind of contents, right? Okay, so what we'll be using. So if you look at here, see, I mean, you're having some kind of, see, initially, whatever the storage kind of thing, whether it is blob storage, whether it is ADLS, I mean, Azure Data Lake kind of storage, I mean, initially you need to have some kind of storage account here. Okay, you need to create a storage account. So, okay, so where you will be, I mean, daily different kinds of data here. Okay. Now, again, storage account, I mean, you have some different kinds of storage accounts here, like Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 1. Okay, so Data Box Gateway, I mean, so we'll be using Data Lake Storage here. Okay, so again, when it comes to the case of databases, right? Okay, so databases, you're having different kinds of databases here, like Azure SQL, SQL database. Okay, so on-premise kind of database. I mean, again, Azure Cache for Azure Synapse Analytics also. If you look at here, Azure Synapse Analytics, I mean, again, a data factories also, where we'll be implementing some data pipelines here. Again, in Azure Synapse Analytics also, you can implement data pipelines also. We'll be also working on that one as well. Okay. Again, likewise, if you look at, right, so there are different kinds of databases. I mean, Azure database for MySQL, MariaDB, which is again used for unstructured kind of things. Again, database migration services. Okay, so again, I mean, you're having some other kind of database for Postgres servers. I mean, Cosmos DB. Okay, so you're having different kinds of things. Again, when it comes to the case of analytics, right? So, what kind of analytics Azure? I mean, you can work on Azure, or you can implement it on Azure. So, popular one is Azure Synapse Analytics. As now it is very much trending like anything. Okay, so as I told you, I mean, it is very big, huge competitor Google BigQuery and Amazon Redshift, I mean, which is again trending here. The let me tell you guys, I mean, this is also one of the reason why data engineering is trending on Azure. Okay, now you might be having, see, data engineering solutions are being implemented on some other kind of clouds as well, like AWS and GCP also. But why Azure is, this is one of the prominent, I mean, some kind of tool or weapon, I can say, which Microsoft has designed for data engineering kind of solutions. Only data engineers, I mean, so even data scientists can also work on this kind of Synapse Analytics as well. Okay, so this is one of the platform where every kind of, I mean, say for example, data enthusiasts can work here. Okay, so that is one of the biggest weapons now Microsoft has designed here. Again, when it comes to the case of Azure Databricks, as I told you, so we'll be implementing and learning, I mean, working on some kind of areas here, Azure Databricks, data factories, of course. So streaming analytics jobs, I mean, analysis services. So data lake Gen 1, again, Power Platform for some kind of Power platforms actually. So Power BI, how to, again, like say, for example, integrate some different kinds of data lake with your Power BI or data bricks with Power BI or whatever it is. Okay, so how to visualize that kind of data after bringing the data or after analyzing the data using Azure Databricks or Synapse Analytics. Again, you're having separate data analytics also. Okay, so how to create a Delta Lake kind of things also will be working on. So likewise, if you look at here, right? Okay, again, if you look at AI based machine learning services, I mean, so we are having cognitive services. Even let me tell you, these cognitive services now in Databricks also, after you, like, so for example, bring in any kind of data set or whatever it is, right? Like I told you, so Databricks is one kind of platform where they have integrated all the different here again, because it runs on Spark clusters, right? Now, what is the difference between Databricks and some other kind of platforms? I mean, so Databricks, which runs on Spark clusters, is very faster when it comes to the case of running applications, because here it is the concept of multi-thread kind of applications. I mean, instead of running single kind of applications here, Spark, I mean, divides applications into something called as multi-thread kind of applications. So that is why it is very faster here actually. Okay, so even using Databricks also, I mean, there is some inbuilt kind of cognitive service, like, I mean, you can even build some kind of AI-based services also. Okay, so especially data scientists, I mean, you need to know Databricks also. Now there are, let me tell you guys, I mean, so there are some kind of candidates, I mean, they have taken some training. I mean, okay, so they are told that, I mean, they are being very limited. I mean, okay, so to some kind of data science and data, I mean, deep learning kind of roles. So even they were also given some kind of Databricks kind of activities. I mean, they told them. Okay, so that is why, I mean, even if you ask me, I say that, I mean, even before you start learning data science also, right? Okay, so know some kind of basics or some kind of things on data engineering. Okay, so that is very essential. That is why you can see, I mean, the trend is like anything actually for data engineers. I mean, okay, so now again, so if you look at these kind of services, right, AI plus machine learning, you're having different kinds of services here. Azure machine learning, I mean, you're having separate port that one or portal for that one, where you design separate, I mean, where you can integrate Python notebooks or Spark notebooks, I mean, different kinds of things. I mean, you can run some kind of predictive models, or you can build different kinds of clustering models or whatever it is. Okay, so that is up to you. Again, cognitive services for AI based kind of activities, again, computer vision for activities. So likewise, for each and every services, right, you're having a separate kind of service which is Azure is offering you. Again, likewise, if you see, you're having containers. So containers. Today, every enterprise. Which is because see, today you take any kind of application, they are using some kind of microservices kind of architectures. So that is how they are using some containers kind of thing like Kubernetes, Docker, whatever it is. Okay, so in future also these are the trends. Let me tell you guys, Docker, Kubernetes. So these will be the trend. Because nowadays, take it any kind of application, it has some kind of microservices kind of architecture only they are implementing. Again, mobile based of applications, app services. Okay, so real time notification kind of things. How to send some kind of notification. So there, people will be using some kind of notification kind of hubs. Of course, we don't require these kind of things, but I'm showing you, what kind of activities or what kind of services, so we are having. So especially we'll this, in this one, right? Okay, so analytics, coming to the case of analytics. So these two are these three are very, very important, guys. Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure Databricks, and Azure Data Factories. And of course, data lakes as well. Okay, so that is where, we'll be learning or we'll be implementing different kinds of activities like, creating how to create a Delta applications or how to build some kind of CI/CD kind of data pipelines, or in coming to the case of Databricks, how to create some kind of Spark clusters and how to how to run some kind of Spark notebooks there. Okay, so how like say for example, even if you're having any kind of advanced analytics kind of activities, right? So how to perform those kind of things. Okay, so we can implement those kind of things here. Apart from this one, so if you look at here, you're having some other kind of services like Internet of Things. Okay, so again, the streaming analytics, I told you, right? Stream analytics jobs, you can perform Apache, Kafka, and some other kind of stream analytics kind of things. You can integrate using this stream analytics jobs. Okay. So again, when it comes to the case of likewise, you are having different kinds of things, guys. Even Azure Cosmos also, the real-time kind of data, right? So how to deal with the real-time kind of data. So we'll be also Cosmos DB is very, very helpful in tracking or like, for example, dealing with real-time kind of data. Now your traditional databases won't support those kind of data, right? So this is how Cosmos DB is designed actually in order to deal with some kind of unstructured kind of data or some kind of stream kind of data or whatever it is. Okay. Again, if you look at some other kind of services, right, you're having mixed reality. Again, when it comes to of integration, so you're having a factory. Okay, so how to integrate different kinds of Azure service also. Okay, so you're having, again, separately, if you're having SaaS based kind of applications like Salesforce and some other kind of things, right? Okay, so you're having those kind of services having. Okay. So likewise, Power Platforms, again, you're having Power Platforms like Power BI, Power Apps, kind of solutions, okay. So likewise, you can use different kinds of services here. When it comes to the case of identity, right? Okay, so identity and security kind of mechanisms, Azure Active Directory or those kind of activities you can perform. So for again, you're having separate security kind of services here. So popular ones is key vaults. So we'll be also trying to understand what is this key vault actually. So because see, not only develop applications, but if you can secure those kind of applications, that is very, very important, right? You need to of applications. See, enterprises not only like say for example, run their workloads on cloud, but even they need to secure those kind of activities even. Okay, so that is where security is very, very important. Of course, you're having a separate certification for this one also. You know, cyber security kind of thing or whatever it is, those kind of people will be dealing with these kind of activities. But again, how to implement those kind of secured kind of applications, what is role-based kind of secure access, ACLs, okay, so when it comes to the case of networking, right, ACLs, all those things will be dealt here. Again, of course, you're having DevOps kind of platform, as of course, now, which is also a trending kind of thing when it comes to the case of DevOps implementation. Again, migration kind of activities happen. Okay, so again, a lot of things, you need to learn on migration. Of course, these are the separate different kinds of services here. Again, when it comes to the case of monitoring kind of solutions, right? So how to create some kind of metrics or how to track those kind of metrics or how to create a dashboard and how to, like say for example, monitor the different kinds of log analytics or whatever it is. Okay, so even our, like say for example, when we create some kind of data pipelines, right, using ADF. Okay, so you need to monitor those kind of services, right? Like say for example, whether the data pipeline is accurately working fine or not. I mean, okay, so if it is getting failed, I mean, for what kind of thing it is getting failed, you need to even understand that one. So how to track all those kind of things? So using the log kind of things only. Okay, so that is how we'll be monitoring different kinds of activities. Again, management and governance. Of course, we're having different other kind of activities. Services from Azure. Okay, so this is not our cup of tea here. Again, if you look at here Intune, so this is some other kind of like say for example for some other kind of education kind of activities. I mean, again, if you look at hybrid plus multi-cloud, okay, so yes, of course, we're having, I'll show you how to implement some kind of like say for example activity. So where we'll be bringing some kind of data which is stored in some kind of S3 bucket, Amazon. Okay, so AWS S3 bucket. So again, how to bring that data and how you'll be loading that data into our ADLS, Azure Data Lake Storage. Okay, so we'll be also learning about that one. So these are the different kinds of services, guys. I mean, okay, so I mean, if you look at, I mean, so there are every year, I mean, Microsoft is reviewing and adding some new services to its Azure stack. I mean, okay. So likewise, I mean, if you look at, right, almost all there are 400 different kinds of services which Azure is offering. Okay. So any kind of enterprise, I mean, so if you ask me, like, say, for example, which cloud to settle, okay, so let me tell you, if you ask me data engineering kind of solutions, right, always all enterprises are going for Azure kind of, because I told you, right, I mean, they have some modern tools like Synapse Analytics and some other kind of, so Databricks kind of solutions, okay, so where they're winning like anything. So that is why implementing and performing data engineering on Azure cloud is a trend setter now. Okay, so even it will be a trend setter in the near future also. So even you can see in the near future, Azure might even take AWS in the cloud market also because of the rapid growth of Azure. Because every year, if you look at, right, okay, so you can Google out yourself. I mean, okay, so the user base is increasing for Azure when it comes when you compare to other kind of like say for example AWS or GCP, very rapidly they are growing actually because of their services they're offering you. Okay, so that is why, I mean, it's always all better if you learn Azure, I mean, data engineering or Azure. Okay, so fine, guys. It almost all took me some time here. Okay, fine. Okay. So that was about, today's session, guys. Need not worry. So tomorrow we'll be learning some basics. Directly, we'll be learning, what is, okay, so I'll be giving you a snapshot of what is cloud computing. I mean, so we'll be not wasting our time on these kind of activities. Of course, everyone knows about this one, but these are very, very important, guys. Okay, so comes to the case of data services on Azure Data Platform, data storage kind of thing. So hardly we'll be having 2 to 3 sessions on this one, and need not worry. After that, everything will be practical oriented sessions, guys. Okay, fine. So before this one, I want all of you to understand these kind of, things. I mean, these kind of concepts here. Okay, so that is very, very essential, guys. I mean, even if you're want to write 203 kind of certification, data scientist, AI, whatever it is. So these are the basics for each and everything here. Okay, so that is why I'm suggesting you people will be learning these kind of things here before we even step into some kind of ADF kind of things or Synapse Analytics kind of things. Okay, fine. So any questions, guys?
No, all good.
Okay. Anyone, any questions, guys? I mean, okay. Need not worry about what kind of question it is. You can ask me anything.
Hi, Vamshi sir. This is Shiva Prasad. Should we learn SQL for doing 203 certification, or should I know SQL previously to learn data engineering?
Okay, so let me clear you out on this one. See, guys, as I told you, for any kind of data role, okay, so whatever the data role you work, I mean, database knowledge is very, very essential today. Of course, learning SQL is not a very big task. I mean, hardly, I mean, you can learn it in 2 weeks of time. Okay, so I mean, let me talk to the management. I mean, how many candidates are there whoever want to learn SQL? So, I mean, we can have separate sessions on that one. It's very simple to learn SQL. It's not a big task. I mean, okay. So even here, I mean, you can understand. I mean, what I'm teaching you because I mean, we'll be learning so different things here. So need not worry. I mean, everything is not about SQL only here. So we'll be learning different kinds of things. You can understand.
Thank you, sir.
Fine, guys. Any other questions? Fine. Okay, guys. So sorry for today. So because it's Monday, I'm having some meeting. Okay. So from tomorrow onwards, we'll stick on to the time. Okay. So we'll learn for longer hours because our different kind of things here. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Fine.
So
Fine, guys.
from tomorrow, it will be a general class?
Yes, yes, of course. I mean, yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
See, I have one doubt. Will you provide any capstone project?
Yes, of course. See, whatever the real-time implementations will be doing, right? Okay, so I'll be showing you how to perform this kind of activities. Again, after we'll be doing some real kind of project from end-to-end kind of implementation. Okay, so like taking the data from any kind of on-premises or any kind of blob storage to how to again using Synapse Analytics, how do you process it or how do you analyze it or how to perform some kind of visualization. We'll be doing that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the case, right? Okay, so you need to understand like what are the different kinds of activities will be performing in real time. That is very, very important. So it's very important that you need to understand different kinds of aspects here, like whether it's come to the case of ADF or Databricks, I mean, how to implement Spark clusters or whatever it is. So that is very, very important. So even in real-time applications, right, you might be having different kinds of activities or different kinds of, like, for example, tasks there. I mean, okay. So it's not that every time they'll be performing end-to-end kind of implementations because, I mean, based upon the requirements, right? So they will be having different kinds of activities there. Okay. Fine. Any other questions, guys? Okay, so no questions. Okay, thank you, guys. Fine. Good night. Thank you, guys.
Good night, sir.
Good night.